Okay, so same thing, map scale, I always like to explain to my students, okay? Why is it that we have this thing called map scale? Okay, take a very simple one, let's say even in Singapore, even from, let's say, Ang Mo Kio to Jurong, okay? In Singapore, very small, only like few km, right? But although it's so small, okay, in actual fact, you also cannot draw out the whole, like, you know, represent the km on A4 size paper, for example, or even big paper also cannot. It's too small to put it in. So we need a scale. Okay, so usually on the map, okay, usually at the corner, okay, they will have this thing called the map scale. And they will not give 1 cm is to something. They will put something like that. Okay, so on the bottom right, usually you will see 1 is to 150,000. So they are trying to tell you, oh, on this map that you see, okay, 1 cm will represent how many cm? Okay, so by default, this is the map, this is the actual. It's always map is to actual, and it's always 1 cm represent 150,000 cm. By default, it is always cm. Okay, then the next thing is we see they ask us to find actual distance, and the actual distance is in km. So before you apply to find out what's the actual, you always change the actual right hand side to the km first. So over here. So a lot of times common mistake is students don't know how to change the cm to km. Okay, so you change step by step. So you ask yourself, cm, how many cm is 1 meter? So over here, I know that 100 cm we know is equals to 1 meter. So when you want to change to cm to meter, 100 how to become 1? You divide by 100, right? And then after that, you ask yourself, okay, how many meter is 1 km? So we know that 1,000 meter is equals to 1 km. So from meter to km, you know you divide by 1,000. So it means that from cm, you want to change to km, you divide by 100, then you divide by 1,000. In other words, you divide by 50. Correct now? So when you divide by 50, and that's my calculator. Okay, although I very kiasu, I scared later I miss out, so I must press calculator. Okay, 50. So it means it's 1 cm will represent 1.5 km. Then it means that, oh, on the graph, if you use your ruler and measure 1 cm, it will represent the actual 1.5 km. So that is what it means, okay? Then now they tell you, oh, okay, this one, Changi Airport at the city center, on the map is 5.5 cm. So what is the actual? So all you need to do is you put the 5.5 cm over here. Okay, you ask yourself, 1 times what give you 5.5? Of course, this one very straightforward. It's just multiply by 5.5. So this side you also multiply by 5.5. So you will take 1.5 multiplied by 5.5. Okay, 1.5 multiplied by 5.5. Okay, so it becomes 8.25 km. Okay, so we are done on the first part. So that means the actual is 8.25 km. Okay, that's for part A. Okay, part B. Now, okay, map scale, the common mistake is students divide wrongly. This is the first common mistake. Then after that, most of them don't know how to do the area scale. Okay, they will like hang at the area scale. So nothing much to be scared of. Let's see. Okay, they say that the Changi Airport covers an area of 15 km square. So when you see it's km square, of course that we know that it's the actual area. So you are supposed to find out what's the map area. So we're going to use this part. But take note that this is the length scale. So I just bring it down. 1 cm is to 1.5 km. It's the length scale. So I'm going to change it to area scale. So what do? I square both sides. Okay, and 1 times 1 is just 1 cm square. Then you square this one. Of course, press calculator. I will get 2.25 km square. Okay, so this is the map scale. So now I'm ready. It means that on the map, when I measure 1 cm square, it represents 2.25 km square. So over here, this is given 15 km square, and this is actual. So I must put it at the actual side. So that means it's 15 km square. So you need to ask yourself, 2.25 multiplied by what? Give you 15. So what you need to do is you have to take 15 divided by 2.25. And you get a funny number, it's okay, just put it as a mixed number. So I have to multiply by 6 whole 2/3. So this side also do the same thing. So it means that answer is 6 whole 2/3 cm square. Ta-da! So this is the map area that represent the actual area of 15 km square. All good, this is just warm up. Okay, a map is drawn to a scale of 5 cm to 1 km. Two island resorts are located 2.5 km apart. Calculate in cm their distance apart. So it's actually quite same to this one. The only difference is the initial scale that they give us is not 1:2 something. So we still write 5 cm is represent 1 km. So usually what I do is I always change my left hand side to 1 cm. So I divide by 5. So it will be 1 cm will represent, okay, 1 divided by 5 will be 0.2. So it means 1.1 cm represents 0.2 km. Then now I'm ready. So take a look. They say this one is km. That means this is actual. I'm going to put it on the right hand side. Then again, you have to find out. So you take 2.5 divide by 0.2. And it means that I have to multiply by 12.5. So that means this side is the same thing. So this will be 12.5 cm. So this is the answer on the left for this one. Okay. Next, B. On the map, a lagoon has an area. Same thing. So this time around, this is the map area. Then you have to find the km square. So you see, just now say this one quite similar. The only thing is, like I mentioned, the first part is wrong. Not the same. So always take this one. Why is it that I always use this one? Because the actual is usually km square. Okay, if I'm going to take, in just now remember the question 1, if I'm going to take the 150,000, I go and square it, I got to write so many zeros. Okay, it's waste time. That few seconds, you can do another question already. So I'm going to take 1 cm, 0.2 km, and then after that, you got to square both sides. Square both sides. So this one definitely is 1 cm square. And then 0.2, you square it, you'll get 0.04. Then after that, this one on the left-hand side. This one easy, just times 20. And straight away, you get the answer, which is 0.8 km squared. Done. Okay. This is still warm up. Okay. Okay. So they say that 1 cm on a map represent 300 meters. So you will say 1 cm represent 300 meters. A triangle plot of land is represented by blah, blah, blah. Find the actual parameter in meters. So since they say actual is in meters, I don't change this to km. I keep it as meter. Okay. So then you look at your land. This is on the map. So you want to calculate the parameter, you have to find, oh, so 4.5 plus 8.5 and 5. So I put right here, 8.5 plus 4.5 plus 5. Okay, of the land. Your land is a triangle, which is shaded. So you will get 18. So this is the map. So this one on the left-hand side. I'm 18, so that's 300. So I get 5400 meter, and that's it. Straightforward. Next, the area. So they say, oh, find the actual area of this plot. This is the map. So this is a triangle. So of course we use half times base times height. So this is the base, and this is the height, 4. So you will take half times 4.5 times 4, you will get 9. So it's 9 cm squared. So again, we have to use this square both sides. So I get 1 cm square represent 300 times 300. So I don't change this to km. Why? Take a look over here. They say the hectares later is meter square. So that means my right hand side should just remain as meter. So now this one becomes 90,000 meter square. Okay. So and this one is 9. This is the area scale. My map area is 9 cm squared. So put it this side. Times 9. So I get 810,000 meters squared. Then you need to change to hectare. And we know 10,000 is 1 hectare. Simple, just take 81, this one, divided by 10,000. And you get 81 H8 hectare. And that's it. That's for question 3. Question here, because this time round is again different from the top. The top, they give me like maybe 1 cm represent 1 or 5 cm represent 1. But this is tell you the 300 cm square represent 12 km square. Okay, so I can tell you a lot of students start at this question. They will put as decimal because you see, remember just now length scale, you change to area scale, you always square both sides. So a lot of students say, oh, area scale, I want to change back to length scale, I square root both sides. Yes, you're not wrong. But the question is, you cannot square root 300. Right? Then how? Okay, so the trick, The trick is always make your left-hand side to become 1 cm square. So I know I have to divide by 300. No need to say. Okay. So of course, this side is definitely 1 cm square. So just take 12 divided by 300. It will give me 0.04 km square. So now we are ready. Every time it's like that one. The question is like that one. The question now, after you change the left-hand side to 1 cm square, the right-hand side definitely is a perfect square. Perfect square is what? Means are numbers that you can square root nicely. So now we're going to square root both sides. So square root both sides, I get 1 cm. Okay, square root both sides. Okay, I will get 0.2. So now you see, I get my length scale. But because map scale by default on the map is always cm is to cm. So you need to change the right-hand side to cm. So remember just now I said our cm change to km is you divide by 50 ma. So the km change to cm is you times 50. Okay, so 1 cm 0.2 multiplied by 50, you will get 20,000. And take note that on the map, you don't put the cm. So you will have to say, oh, so therefore it's 1 is to 20,000. And they say P, right? So therefore, my P is equals to 20,000. Done. Okay. So just remember that. Don't panic when you cannot square root. A lot of students cannot square root. They just square root, you know. And then after that, when you square root 300, right? They square root 300 give you 17.3205 right? Then other student will continue to put 17.32 cm square or cm law, and then they continue to do no. So that's definitely wrong. So just remember that always change it to 1 cm square. Automatically the right hand side it's always a perfect square. Then you square root, then it become length scale. Easy. Okay, so that's for 4A. Now they ask you find the actual distance for 4 cm. Easy already. Then they say what? In km, right? So of course, I'm going to use this one. Okay. So you will say times 4. So it becomes 4 cm and 0.8 km. So very straightforward. Okay, part C, area scale. Nothing so scary. Same thing, I'm going to use this one. I'm going to change it to area scale. So again, square both sides. Actually, no need. I already have this one, area scale. I can use this one already. So straight away, I use 1 cm square represents 0.04 km square. And this one is on the map. So this one on the left-hand side. So this one times 10.25 ma. So just take 0.04 multiplied by 10.25. And you get, I pressed wrong number. 0.04 multiplied by 10.25. So it's 0.41 km square. And this is the answer. Okay. Okay, question 5 for the map scale. Okay, 1 cm represent actual 4 km on the map. It's given on the map, the distance between the two police stations is 0.8. The area of the forest is 30 cm square. Okay. Okay, I think part A is quite easy. Only part B. Okay, let's see. So first you will write 1 cm represent 4 km. This is the length scale. This is the pulley, so I just put 0.8 cm. This one very straightforward, just times 0.8. 4 times 0.8, you just get 3.2 km. But take note, they want the answer in meter. So you need to change your km to meter. You have to multiply by 1,000. And that's why you get 3200 meter. Part B is say that, oh, the forest, the map is 30 cm square. They want you to find the actual area. So I'm going to take this one. I'm going to square both sides. So I will get 1 cm square represents 16 km square. Check, 30 cm square is the map. So this one is supposed to be on the left-hand side. So just 16 times 30, very straightforward. And you will get 480. So it's 480 km square. And you're done for part 2. Okay, so now this is another question whereby they say, oh, the scale of another map is 1:5K. They say the area of the forest, same forest, on the map is 19.2 cm square. They ask you to find the value of K. Every time they ask you this question, you visualize this way. You have the first map. Your first map, the scale is 1 cm square is to 16 km square. Okay. Then after that, maybe say, oh, maybe after 10 years already, the maps spoiled already. You need to change another map. Then this time around, when you change the other map, you decided, okay, I want to use another map scale. Yes, I change another map scale. The scale, you want to change what scale also can. Doesn't matter. But the actual will never change, right? The size of the forest, After 10 years will not change, ma. I mean, technically speaking, will not change. Just don't talk about the minus a bit here and there. So the area of the actual area will not change. So it means that what will not change? This 480 km square will remain stagnant. So what they're trying to say is on the second map, my actual is 480 km square, cannot run away. Now this time around on the second map, we use 19.2 cm square to represent it. So it means that, oh, so 480 km square is 19.2 cm square. Then you are given this. So this is exactly like just now that question, whereby my left-hand side is 300 square, remember? So I need to square root both sides, but I have to change my left-hand side to become what? Nigel?
I
have to change my left side to become?
cm.
Yes, I need to change to cm, but how? Now it's not. Now currently it's 19.2 cm square.
Square root.
Can I square root 19.2? Let me check. Cannot. I get 4.38 out.
Oh, divide both sides by 19.2, is it? Then
yes, correct.
Square root.
Yes, change it to 1 cm square. Good. So 480 divided by 19.2. See, I tell you already, every time we do that, it can become a perfect square one. The question always designed this way, I tell you. Okay, then after that, now you can square root. So you square root 1 cm square, it becomes 1 cm. Square root 25 will just become 5 km. Then by default, because they asked me, they say the map scale is 1:5k. By default, both sides must be cm. So I just need to change this to cm. So 1 cm represents 5, put 50. And then remove the cm, if represent 1:2. Like that. Okay, and then after that, they say 5k. So you're supposed to find what is k, ma. Then you say, oh, so therefore 5k equals to this one. And then k will be equals to this. And you're done. Okay? Okay, this is 3 map. Map P represent, use 5 cm represent 9. Map Q, 3 cm represent 4.5. Map R, blah, blah, blah. So find the representative fraction, okay? So suddenly a lot of students see this word, then they start, huh? What does that mean? Actually, it's nothing much. You see, it's just simply put in a fraction form. Usually you will see 1:50,000. 1 something. So it's the same thing. If I say I want a representative fraction, it means you just put 1/50,000. That's all. Nothing special. So they want map P. So let's take a look. Map P. So 5 cm represent 9 km. Straightforward. Change to 1 cm first. So 9 divided by 5. I get 1.8 km. You hold on. Okay, so can you hear me? Okay?
Yeah.
Can okay. Okay, so 1 cm represent 1.8 km. So I need to change this to cm. So same thing, 1.8 multiplied by 50. I will have 1 cm is 180,000. So remove the cm, I have then put it in the fraction form, and you will have 1/180,000. So that's the answer for part A. So now let's take a look at part B. They said find the actual distance in km between town A and town B. This time around, they use map P and then 8.5 and also map. So 8.5 cm. Easy lah. I use this one. Multiply by 8.5 cm. So just take 1.8 multiply by 8.5. And I get 15.3 km. And that's the answer for part B. This is still quite straightforward. Now let's take a look at part C. Now they say the dimension of a plot of the land on the map P is 8/3 cm. Okay, a rectangular plot, 8 cm and then 3 cm. Okay, they ask you find the parameter of this plot of land on map Q. You must take note, you have to be very clear that this represent 8 cm and 3 cm. It represent on the map P. And on the map will change according to what map scale we use. The only thing that's unchanged is the actual. Okay, so that means I need to find out what is my actual length and actual breadth. So go to map P, which is this one. Am I going to put km? Okay, never mind. So here. So what I'm going to do is map P is 1 cm is to 1.8 km. Let's find out 8 cm. So you will take 1.8 multiply by 8 and you get 14.4 km. So that means put bracket lah. This one, the length is actual. The breadth is 3 cm. So let's find 3 cm also. So 1.8 multiplied by 3, you get 5.4. So put bracket. Actual will not change. So now you go back to here. You want to use map Q. They want parameter. Okay, so let's find the parameter. So you take 14.4 times 2 plus 5.4 times 2. So you have 14.4 times 2 plus 5.4 times 2. And I get 39.6 km. So this is the actual parameter. And now I need to use map Q to represent. So let's go to map Q. 3 cm represent 4.5 km. So 3 cm represent 4.5 km. So this actual will not change. Put it on the right hand side. So you have to key calculator 39.6 divide by 4.5. Then you will know that, oh, I need to multiply by 8.8. So it becomes, for this case, it's just 3 times 8.8. So it's 26.4 cm. And this is the answer. Okay. Then now they say, they want you to find the area of the plot of the land on map area this time. So always the actual will not change. So always take the actual to go and find what is the area, actual area. So I'm going to take 14.4 multiplied by 5.4. So 14.4 times 5.4, I get 77.76 km squared. This is the actual area. This time around, I'm going to use map area for the area. So what do? I have to take 6 cm represent 8 km. Okay, always change to 1 cm so that it's easier for us. Divide by 6, I get 1 cm. 8 divided by 6, I get a very disgusting number. Never mind, we just put mixed number. 1 whole 1 over 3 km. Don't forget that this is only the length scale. You are supposed to square both sides. So I have 1 cm square, and then this one I square it. I get funny number again. It's fine. Just put 17 over 9 km square. Actual area will not change. So actual area put here 77.76 km square. Again, what times this? Give me this. I'm going to take 77.76 divided by 1 whole 7 over 9. And I get multiply by 43.74. So this side also the same thing. So 43.74 cm squared. Ta-da! So answer is 43.74. Oh, so small. Like that cannot. Okay. So in this question, you need to be very clear that keep changing map is okay. Okay, you take the correct map, but when you're using the reference, you always use the actual to put it to the right hand side to find the map, depending on which map you're going to use. All good?
Yeah.
Can